you're going to want to buckle up today. We have a big show for you today. Ottawa Business Matters, of course, talks all things business here in the capital. We're going to start off in a beautiful part of our city, one of my favorites. That is the beautiful Byward Market. And the Byward Market District Authority Executive Director, Zach Dayler's here. Hello, Zach. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Zach, how have we not met yet?
Right? I know.
It's crazy, but I'm so glad you're here. And the Byward Market is a favorite. I worked in the Byward Market for many years. I love that area. You're coming up on a big anniversary. So much to talk about. Tell me a little bit about you. How did you get this role?
Well, so I've always been involved with the idea of public space. You know, I worked in Wellington West. I've worked in the constituencies around Ottawa, and this was just a great opportunity to put some efforts into a city building project. Right, Byward is where Ottawa started some 200 years ago, coming into the anniversary in 2027. And if you've ever traveled around, you know that the market locations in any city are vibrant. And over the last, few decades, as Ottawa's expanded, we have sort of lost a little bit of attention on Byward, but that's coming back with the public realm plan. There's a great report that we'll talk a little bit about that the Ottawa Board of Trade put out that signals a lot of really positive investment, and Byward really turning the corner to revitalizing that visitor experience.
The downtown action agenda is a very exciting time. Really encouraging people to live downtown, to obviously work downtown, that investment, that capital investment. It really is exciting. The big announcement, of course, was just recently. How do you feel about what's come out of that report?
Yeah, so first, talking about Ottawa Board of Trade, I think they did a lot of really hard work with the Canadian Urban Institute and reviewing a lot of the studies that have been done. A lot of the work has been sort of reviewed. And so what they did was they took all of that and put it together into this action agenda that you sort of mentioned. And I think the biggest thing for me that's potentially the most exciting is sort of the call for more people to live downtown. I think the number that they put out there is 40,000 residents, increase 40,000 residents in the downtown core. That'll bring jobs, that'll bring investment. And it brings people and eyes on the street. And that's really what the market is about, is a public space. People need to come together in that space. We need to talk, celebrate, be sad, have events. And so all those things are positive for the revitalization of Byward, but also, the downtown core in general, from Spark Street to Bank Street, even the Glebe. It really is a wonderful downtown.
It is. I mean, I love this city so much. I feel 200 years old because I feel like I've been going downtown for that long. Honestly, big celebrations coming up. Talk to me a little bit how we're going to all celebrate.
So the team has been making a considerable effort as we come through this first season as the Byward Market District Authority to make sure that our programming is consistent. So, every weekend having an offering down in Byward. As we're coming into June, we're going to start our Sanko set performances with Ottawa Music Industry Coalition, I believe on Thursday nights there, where they're going to be in George Street Plaza. They're going to be playing. You're going to see Ottawa musicians. And that's an investment that we're making for the neighborhood. As a not-for-profit, it's up to us to generate the revenue that gets put back into that area. And so when we connect that to the Ottawa Board of Trade report, the idea of 40,000 more people down here, to help generate those sales in restaurants, retail, is all very, very positive.
It's just such a beautiful part of our city, and I'll take you back to, I'm going to go maybe 1980. Okay. I was maybe 8 or 9 years old. And my grandma's like, do you want to go to the Parkdale Market with me?
Yeah.
And I was like, I sure do. Yeah. And I still think of her every time I stop by the Parkdale Market because, of course, I do every single year to buy plants and veggies and fruit and all those good things. How are you connected? Because I think this is going to be a surprise for people today.
It is. So as the Byward Market District Authority, we're also the authority that manages the Parkdale Market. And a big celebration there is coming into its 100th year.
Wow.
And it's something where the reason we're connected there is it's the heritage market. So when the city started, 200 years ago, the market building was created so that the workers could go and purchase groceries and whatnot. And this was a trend across Canada. 1800s, you're seeing market halls pop up everywhere. They've all evolved in different ways, but as we sort of moved on, there was also this need for a market in this growing metropolis of the West, right? And that's where Parkdale Market was sort of established. And the story that we like to joke about there is when it opened 100 years ago, nobody showed up.
No.
Yeah, so everybody was ready, but no vendors showed up, and it sort of had a low start.
No.
But we're pushing back, and the 100th celebration that we had back in May when we opened the market was great. We had the mayor there, we had the MPs there, the councillors there, and it really has become a place for people to gather, that public space, and encourage everybody to check out our night markets on Wednesday nights that have been a great success.
And so many people can just walk there.
They absolutely can.
And that's what we're wanting for Byward, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you're wanting is more people to live so they can also experience that.
Yeah, there's this idea of 15-minute neighborhoods that pops around, and I alter that idea a little bit in a 15-minute city, right? It's where we want to celebrate. It's where we started. You should be able to wake up in Barhaven, or you should be able to wake up in Hintonburg and say, hey, let's go grab a coffee in the market. We'll come back to our neighborhood, grab some lunch, explore Ottawa. Before we came on air, we were talking about how Ottawa is the biggest small town you've ever been in. And there's no reason it can't operate like that. We have a lot of really, really great assets, from our LRT to our transit, to cycling infrastructure that's growing, to parks. Just the opportunities abound across the city.
Now, I heard a little rumor that you recently became a member of the Ottawa Board of Trade. And I love this because I think people really need to understand that no organization is working in a silo. If you're working in a silo, you are working alone, because this is an opportunity for that collaboration. So as a new member of the Ottawa Board of Trade, and being connected yesterday and hearing all of the, recently hearing all of the big announcements, what does that do for you in terms of moving forward and the partnerships that you can create?
Yeah, I think the key to moving this agenda forward, and I think one of the beauties of a group like the Ottawa Board of Trade is, it's funny also about Ottawa. Ottawa is the home of associations.
True.
There's literally an association for associations. And I think what that sort of highlights to me is you got to show up. Right? You can't sit there at your desk or on your couch or in your backyard and say, gosh, I'm upset about X, Y, and Z. You got to show up. And there are groups like the Ottawa Board of Trade, your local community association, whatever it might be, where we need Ottawa to show up. We need Ottawa to come to events. We need Ottawa to go to parks. We need Ottawa to use transit. And I know we have challenges, but the only way we're going to push past those challenges is saying, okay, I'm going to work to fix that. And groups like the Ottawa Board of Trade, whether it be through their committee work, their research work, their lunch and learns, and what they put on, I think is an exceptional resource. And I'd encourage any small business, that medium or large business that hasn't really considered that, to show up. It's time to build the city back up.
It is, and it's such an exciting time. I think coming onto the anniversary, obviously, of the Byward Market, that's going to be wonderful. But we think back to the 150th and what that looked like, and all of those big machines downtown walking through the market. I mean, that was a moment in time that I don't think any of us will forget. I know there'll be lots of other opportunities as well to celebrate. So I think there's stuff that is challenging, but I do feel quite hopeful.
Yeah, and I think, La Machine's a great reference. I hear that all the time, and I think it was exceptional. It was also multi-millions of dollars to sort of execute, and I think the one thing that we have to sort of think or relate to that experience is, yes, the big machines were wonderful, but it was about all the people together in public space. And so I think the more and more we can remind people about how important it is to connect in public space, the better the city's going to get, whether that's Lansdowne, whether that's Byward, whether that's Le Breton. We have these great gathering spaces. And you know what? We're a fun city. I'm going to say it. We got a lot of fun people. And I think we're probably the bigger pushes of our sort of negative narrative. So time to change that. Time to go out and celebrate. Come see some music. Come get a good bite to eat. Buy a new shirt from a local retailer. Wear the city with pride.
I love that. I always try every year, at least once or twice, to have a staycation.
Yes.
And hang out at a cool hotel downtown, and then eat maybe somewhere where we have never eaten before. I always love doing that and kind of pretending I'm new to the city, and then do that little bit of shopping. And I think the more that we also can celebrate this city, and really vacation where we live is also a part of this story.
Yeah, we're our biggest spokespeople, right? And it's funny, if we ever travel, whether it's domestically or internationally, one of the questions, where are you from? We should say Ottawa with pride, our capital. Like, it's our capital city. And so I think when we think about staycations and we think about engaging, I think we often forget as residents about all the wonderful institutions, from the gallery, to the Mint, which is one of my personal favorites, to the small art gallery. This is the capital. People come here from around the world, and we have this in our backyard. And it's a really wonderful piece. Both the Ottawa Art Gallery and the National Gallery are doing some really exciting things. And if we can connect, right, and create that almost ecosystem, I think we stand a great chance.
I had to laugh a few weeks ago. I took my daughter down, and we were staying downtown. But a couple days before that, I had a number of meetings, and I was at East Block, and I was at City Hall, and then to see the juxtapose of like doing that, and then being casually walking around downtown, I thought, boy, both of this can happen in the same city, and not every city can say that, Zach. Really, I mean, we're very unique that way.
Absolutely, and I think there are some positive things that are happening on that coordination front. So, for example, if you go down Wellington past Parliament and the tulips in front of the Prime Minister's residence, we see that as well, and we say, hey, how do we do that? And we pattern that floral beautification down to the market, right? And as we do that, Spark Street does that. Other neighborhoods do that, and you begin to flow people through the city in a way that they almost don't realize that they're being guided. They're following a wonderful path. So our urban planning, our beautification efforts are all being stepped up as we move into the next sort of phase of Ottawa that I think this report highlights. And I think it's something that we're going to be really proud of. I hear a lot of concerns when it comes to whether it be business, social issues, et cetera, and there are a lot, for sure. But I'm also starting to hear a lot from people in terms of, hey, these planters are done, or hey, hey, you had music, and it's almost like we're just sort of waking up out of a very odd 3 sort of years previous, and it seems like a bit of normality. I was telling you, we're seeing an increase of foot traffic down in the market about 7% per year, and I think probably in about a year or two we're back to that 2019 level. So that's pretty exciting.
That is the perfect place to end because it's on positive notes. Thank you so much. I know this is the first of many conversations.
You bet.
Look forward to it.
Thanks.
Zach Dayler joining us, of course, from the Byward Market District Authority. When we come back, Krista Keeley's going to be here. She's got some exciting news about the airport. Stay with us on Ottawa Business Matters. Well, I think the only place they're not flying is to the moon. It's so exciting what's happening at the Ottawa Airport Authority. And here to tell us all about it is the one and only Krista Keeley. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
You have a very big job. Tell me what it is.
I'm Vice President of Communications and Public Consultation for the Airport Authority.
And they have kept you so busy, because I see you on LinkedIn, my friend, and you are posting about all the excitement that's happening at the airport, because we want to invite people to Ottawa, but we also want Ottawa residents to be able to go wherever they want.
Exactly, and it really has been an exciting time at the airport. There's been a lot of announcements, a lot of growth. And, as we say, we're recovered from the pandemic. We're different, but we've recovered, and things are just getting better and better, and very exciting.
And I see the mayor is very excited as well. Mayor Mark Sutcliffe is totally on this, and I think we all should be, on this pattern of inviting people to come here and making it easy for business travelers, making it easy for leisure, of course. But by inviting people here, it's just great for working, living, playing. I mean, it just becomes, you're almost this hub in the city that just is creating so much excitement.
Exactly, and our mandate is to be an economic generator for the local economy, and that's what we're really trying to do. And we really appreciate Mayor Sutcliffe's support. He's very engaged. He's not shy to talk to anybody who will listen about air service development. He's been having conversations overseas, and he's very excited. He understands the potential. When we do well, the community does well, and the visitor economy is so important in Ottawa-Gatineau, and so everybody's focused on making sure that we can make it easy for people to visit, and also make it easier for people to travel. And you mentioned the leisure and business. That's an important factor. Our leisure business has gone up significantly since the pandemic. We're not as business skewed in terms of our passenger profile, so it's interesting. We're getting a lot more leisure destinations, and people are traveling.
People are traveling.
They are traveling.
Can I tell you something? I'm doing my part.
Good. Good.
Don't
We
you
thank
worry. I'm doing my part. And every time I arrive at that airport, I think we have one of the most beautiful airports I've ever been in. It's easy to get around. It's clean. But you've also done some really innovative things. I was like walking up to the Bottega the other day. Like, you've really had this opportunity to create something special in that airport using the time of the pandemic, let's be honest, to make it even better, right?
Well, there were definitely some things that slowed down during the pandemic just because revenues were non-existent. So in 2019, we launched a terminal revitalization program called YOW Plus, and it had 4 pillars, one of which was concessions, and that whole revamp of the center court area, which started when we moved security upstairs. It opened up all of this space. I know you're familiar with that that move and you love it.
Yes.
But it offered us the opportunity to really build out that center area. And part of the negotiations with the master concessionaire was that we wanted it to have a local feel and flair. And so we have local flavors like La Bottega. We have Bridgehead. We're going to have Zach's. We've got a big rig, which has been so popular and so fantastic to have. We had Chris Phillips when we launched the whole program
Of course,
come and visit with us. So it's really exciting. I think it's really providing a sense of place in our airport, and there's more to come. We've got a hotel under construction. The Alt Hotel is going to be opened in 2025, and LRT any day now. So our station is ready and waiting for the line, and so yeah, lots of things to be excited about with the Ottawa Airport.
We saw this this big billboard, and it said, flights to France, direct flights to France. So of course my daughter's like, so Mum, when are we going to go to France again? Because we can fly right out of this city. So I think that was a real turning point when you announced those direct flights to France. It just felt like you opened up Europe for us.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
We did, and that was a really a great effort on the Air Service Development team, and our CEO Mark Laroche as well was very involved in making that happen. And Air France provides that nonstop service to Charles de Gaulle, which is a fortress hub, which means literally the rest of the world is opened, with that one stop. We've got a great departure time at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which gets the flight in at about 6 in the morning. And that's the perfect connection bank. And so people are using it. They've upgauged the aircraft twice, which means larger aircraft, more seats. And they went from 5 days a week to daily, which will be starting this summer. So it is very exciting. And we're thrilled that the community has accepted it and adopted it, and they're using it. And, that means great things for the future as well. The more passengers we have, the more potential air service that's available to the community. So,
and if we talk a little bit closer to home, not to brag or anything, but I'm going to Winnipeg next week, and I'm taking Porter, and all of these direct flights through Porter, and I love the 2x2, right? Just there's no middle seat.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
So Porter's really become in love with this city.
We've become a very important piece of their network strategy, their growth strategy. We're a hub. That's a very exciting word for Ottawa. We've always been a spoke, sort of historically speaking. So to be recognized as a hub and to have exciting things happen, like maintenance hangars being built that we recently opened with Porter, with their team. And announcements just keep coming. We're introducing service to Newfoundland on June 6th, and they've assured us that there's a lot more to come. So they just keep adding nonstop destinations and routes. And so we're really looking forward to some West Coast U.S. Routes to come eventually. And they've really publicly stated that we are important to them. We're their sort of second most important hub after Billy Bishop in Toronto. They're going to be maintaining their Embraer jets in Ottawa. It's going to be a backup base for their maintenance of their Dash 8s and a crew base as well. So they're going to grow to 400 employees in Ottawa by the end of the year. that's really exciting for our community, for the local economy. And our other airlines are also adding more frequency and service. So there's going to be a lot more available to the residents of Ottawa-Gatineau when they're flying, when they're planning their vacations. And I'm really excited for next year's charter season as well.
Well, in the winter, I was like, we were thinking about going to PI, so I was on there, and then I was like, I wonder if Porter's going to Charlottetown, and they are,
do.
and we leave in July, and I'm so excited. So
Good.
I think heading to the East Coast, as you mentioned, they're really stepping up. Everyone loves. I mean, I really think, honestly, that Ottawa, everybody goes to PI, because I walk down the streets of Charlottetown and I see people from Ottawa.
Oh, that's
so it's become a
great.
very popular destination. So Porter's listened to the people of Ottawa, and I'm so glad. And the Ottawa Airport Authority as well. I mean, I know it's been a challenging time through the pandemic, and you did, a beautiful, graceful job during that time, but now it's time to celebrate.
We are celebrating. I'm going to PEI in September.
there you go.
And I'm flying Porter as well.
Nice.
So you're absolutely right. There are lots of things to look forward to. We're doing everything that we can to make sure that we're ready. We're talking expansion. So we're in the early stages of planning what that will look like, and getting some design principles and objectives for an expansion, and making sure though that while we expand, we know there'll be disruption, minimizing that as much as possible. So we're going to spend the next, I'm going to say, year and a half or so planning, so that we're really ready for it, and that we listen and incorporate what our passengers and our partners, our airline partners and others are looking for, and making sure that that's all incorporated, so that we have sort of a fantastic facility that's ready for the future. We're going to be growing. We're going to see some really big numbers if everything that Porter's planning comes true, and our other airline partners, Air Canada, they're adding capacity. They're recognizing that this is a market that wants to travel, and we need to be ready for it.
And the connection with the LRT, I think that's another big piece that maybe has sort of been forgotten in all of the challenges that it's faced, that this is very positive for the airport.
It's really positive, and a lot of people say, well, do you really have the numbers right now? We knew at the planning stages of this that if we didn't have the airport on that LRT line, that it wouldn't happen. Nobody's going to build a whole system and then retrofit many years later to put a station or a spur. So we lobbied hard because we knew it was important for the city. We knew it was important to have multimodal transportation options in a world-class city like Ottawa. And so we're delighted. We're waiting. We have a beautiful station, and we can't wait till it's open, and we're welcoming people to use it, and
100%.
Staff included. It'll be important for staff.
I'll be honest with you, that was not on my radar.
Okay.
That was not on my, but so brilliant. And I noticed, I went the other day, and I was flying out a few weeks ago, and I noticed the big circle there, and it just, it looks so grown up, Krista. Is that the right word? I don't know, but
We're maturing.
Maturing.
For sure.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
absolutely. And that comes with the maturity of the airport. It's the maturity of the city, and having that world-class option for transportation to the city center is really, really vital for the growth of a city. It brings tourists, it brings conventions, because they want to know that there are options for their delegates to travel, to get into the city, make it easy, and make it beautiful. It integrates with the airport perfectly, and we're very proud of it. We can't wait to show it off.
The other thing that I do, that I feel like I'm going to tell all my secrets, I think I'm not the only person that knows this secret though, is I book my parking in advance, and then I just, I feel so hip. You should see me. I pull up, flash my code, and
QR code.
get right in there,
Yeah.
and it's just, it feels, once again, just makes travel easy. I know that I've got my spot. I don't have to worry about it. I'm parking at the airport, and everything just seems to be just a bit easier.
It's easier, and if you're parking, or if you're booking far enough in advance, there are deals to be had often, and discounts. So that's really important. And I want to say we're going to have a brand new website in the next month or two, which will make booking your parking online even easier, and making your travel planning through the airport a lot easier as well. And there'll be lots of options for accessibility, and all of those food and beverage options that everybody wants. So all of that information will be readily available.
Amazing. We only have about 30 seconds, but you've always got great travel tips. So what's your big summer travel tip for us?
Oh my goodness.
Packing light, right?
Well, everybody tries to take too much, and airplanes get heavy. They have limits, and so yeah, you don't really need everything that you're planning. What I would say, because I've heard this a lot lately, is people with expired passports and documentation. Make sure you know what you need to take with you to identify yourself when you're traveling. Make sure it's up to date, and do some advanced planning. Understand where you're going, and your transportation options there, and the world is your oyster.
Brilliant. Always a pleasure. Thank you so
Likewise.
much.
Thank you.
Krista Keeley joining us today from the Ottawa Airport Authority. When we come back, we're going to talk a little casino. Stay with us on Ottawa Business Matters. Oh, it's all exciting news today here on Ottawa Business Matters. I'm Sam LaPrade. I'm so excited to introduce my new friend, Christine Crump. She is the president of the Rideau Carleton Casino, Future Hard Rock.
Yes.
So when I say Future Hard Rock, I get really excited.
I'm glad.
Because I'm a big Hard Rock fan. I have been probably 6 or 7 different properties, but the fact there's going to be one in our city.
Yes.
The city's abuzz about this news.
It sure is. And we had a good conversation in the green room, didn't we, about Hard Rock. So thank you for being such a fan. This is a really exciting time for the city and a really exciting time for Hard Rock, because this is Hard Rock International's first Canadian property.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's been other properties in the country, but they've always been a franchisee. So this is Hard Rock International's commitment to Canada, and it's pretty exciting to launch a brand in Ottawa and in a nation.
Absolutely. We just had Krista Keeley on from the Ottawa International
Yes.
Airport, and I was like, Krista, how cool is this, right? The casino and the airport, very close by proximity wise.
Yes, for sure.
And just knowing that the airport is just doing some amazing things, but it'll influence the work that you're doing as well at Future Hard Rock, knowing that so many people can visit.
Absolutely. I think the launch of the Hard Rock brand in the city really helps to create Ottawa as a destination, and that will certainly help the airport, and it will also help the Byward market, as we heard from Zach earlier today, because Hard Rock, we want to be part of the solution in the city. Certainly it's a one-stop shop at our new location, but for example, we were major sponsors of the Capital Music Awards just a couple of weeks ago, and it's a real opportunity to cultivate live music in the city. And Hard Rock is an entertainment brand first. So at our new build, we're going to actually have 4 stages in the new build, and we were discussing that we can actually watch local talent, the career of local artists, grow right inside our building. They can start at our lounge stage at our Council Oak Steakhouse, and then move to the Joint, which is an entertainment space that we actually have existing right now, and then move to the Hard Rock Cafe stage, and then, which is one of the most exciting parts of our new build, is the Hard Rock Live entertainment space, and it will house 2,200 fans.
Amazing. I'm listening to you, and I'm like, is this Ottawa? This is Ottawa, right? And
It
I
sure
think
is.
a lot of people, and I don't like it. I'm going to tell you something right now. Anybody says it around me, and they get an earful, because when people say, "Oh, it's a boring city. There's nothing going on." Like, have you looked around this city about all the exciting things that are happening right now? But the development of what's happening, and I think definitely Hard Rock falls right in there. Talk to me a little bit about the business side of this, meaning how many people are going to be working there? What does this mean in terms of revenue generation?
For sure. When you spoke about the development piece, Hard Rock's investing $350 million into this project. It's one of the largest private projects in the city. We currently employ just over 400 team members. We're going to almost double that in the next 12 months. So there's a real opportunity for folks to get in on the ground level of something really exciting here in the city. And from a revenue generation perspective, since Rideau Carleton Casino opened its doors in 2000, we've provided the city over $100 million in gaming revenue. And we expect that that will continue to substantially increase as the years go on.
That number is shocking people right now. I can tell you, viewers and listeners right now, are very surprised at that number, and it's going to grow.
It is going to grow. Last quarter, we provided 1.2 million. These funds filter through OLG, but they're certainly they are from the gaming revenue at the property. And last year it was 6.6 million.
Wow. So tell me about your role, because I think you've got a really cool gig.
I like to think I have the best job in the province.
Yeah.
It's a pretty unique opportunity to run a gaming facility. I'm not new to gaming. I've been in the industry 24 years, but I am new to Ottawa. And I've only been here almost 6 months. The business community has been so welcoming, including Sueling and the Board of Trade. But when Hard Rock reached out and recognizing the opportunity, everything that we talked about, launching a brand, bringing a hotel to Ottawa, to the South End, I just couldn't turn it down. So I am coming from the GTA, but moved to the city, and I appreciate what you're saying. Lots of folks had said to me, you're moving to Ottawa, you're leaving Toronto. It's not that fun in Ottawa. And I said, well, Hard Rock, and it's pretty fun.
It's pretty fun. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's great because it's kind of nice to have somebody come to Ottawa, to be honest, and bring some fresh ideas and a fresh look at the city, right? I mean, I'm here every day. I'm kind of seeing the same thing. I think seeing something from a different perspective is really important. Yeah. As I mentioned, we're big Hard Rock fans.
Yes,
so
thank you.
My daughter, when I walk into her room, she has a bulletin board and she has all of her Hard Rock pins. And so she is a very big fan. People are really dedicated to this brand.
They certainly are, and I'm happy to hear that. I actually brought you and your daughter a little sampling.
No.
So this is a thing.
Oh.
Hard Rock has collector pins.
Oh, look at this one. Okay.
Yes.
This is a fave, for sure.
Yeah, and folks, like you said, folks will travel around internationally to collect Hard Rock pins.
It's incredible.
So, yeah, now Ottawa's on the map.
And I love that it's so representative of Ottawa. You've got the Peace Tower in there. You've done such a beautiful job of creating these. So people are going crazy for these.
They sure are. The Rock Shop's open already, right at the facility now. The current facility is operational. It's open 24/7. And we're excited. We've started the official countdown clock to the 12 months to opening. We had the official groundbreaking on June 6th of 2023, and 12 months later, if you drive by now, the entire structure is there. The hotel, 150 rooms, the expanded gaming floor will have 10 restaurants and bars when we open, and of course the live theater, which we're super excited about.
So I was flying in, speaking about Krista Keeling in the airport, I was flying in and flying over the Rideau Carleton, the future Hard Rock.
Yes.
And I was like glued to the window because I was trying to see it from that perspective. Yeah. It's really exciting. Have you seen it from that perspective yet?
I have. And actually, when our team members fly over, they do the same thing. They'll send me a screenshot from the airport or from the airplane.
It just looks so, it's just so exciting.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, at the property is the racetrack, which is very unique in the province and also attached to a gaming facility. So it's in its 62nd year.
Wow.
And we're able to leverage the racetrack as really a community, a place for the community to gather. For example, we just had on the May long weekend free fireworks, and we had 2,500 folks come out. They celebrated the long weekend. On June 30th, actually, I sit on the board for Make-A-Wish Canada, the chapter advisory board in Ontario. So we're holding a fundraiser for Make-A-Wish on June 30th, and then on the 1st, we're actually going to have another free firework display, but we're also going to have an outdoor event after the fireworks, and Northern Pikes is going to be playing.
I love the Northern Pikes.
Well, we could get you a front row seat.
Oh my gosh, so exciting. And so when you talk about 2025, I know that's it's obviously a big year. It's going to be a big year in the city, actually. Do you have a sense of even a month that's going to open, or do you want to keep that close to the chest so far?
Yeah, spring of 25. Okay. We don't have an official date as yet, but as you can appreciate, there's lots of moving parts, and that's when we'll officially hang the Hard Rock brand, which we're super excited about.
And Mayor and Council must be excited as well. Not only, I mean, I'm thinking revenue, of course, everyone thinks about the revenue side, but just in terms of what it would bring to that end of town. We know that there's business happening in every corner of the city, and that, on Albion Road, there's going to be some very exciting things happening.
Yeah, there sure is. And actually, the mayor, my second day in Ottawa and at the property, the mayor came out for a tour.
Oh, wow.
And our COO was there from Florida. He flew in and we did a construction tour, and we're actually planning an updated tour with Mark here in the very near future. So everybody's really excited about it, and the brand recognition that Hard Rock will bring to the city. It's a global brand. We're in 70 countries.
And so when you were planning all of this, of course, like I said, I've been in a lot of Hard Rocks. I've seen Frank Sinatra's suit and Prince's guitar. How does all that happen?
Sam, one of the fun things about Hard Rock is the memorabilia collection. So over 88,000 pieces. It's the largest memorabilia collection in the world. And I've actually had the opportunity to go through the memorabilia warehouse, and I've seen some of the pieces that are coming to Ottawa. So it's very cool. We do a really good job of telling a story. Each piece will tell a story. We have one piece of memorabilia already at the property. It's Shania Twain when she played at the Calgary Stampede.
Yes.
So folks can come and see that now, but it will be throughout the facility. So we're really excited about that piece.
It's so brilliant. And lots of parking out there. And I think a lot of people think, oh, it might be a little bit out of their way, but when they get there, it's easy. You've made it easy for people. How important is that piece?
It is. So it's about 20 minutes to get to the property from downtown, or as I like to say, a stairway to heaven and paradise by the dashboard lights or something. But once you get there, there's plenty of free parking, and traffic on the way in and out is quite easy. So, and lots of folks are referencing the LRT, and it is in the south end. So once it activates, then there'll be some connections to the property too.
What is the biggest lesson since you've moved to this city?
Ottawa is fun. It's what you make it. And we're going to amplify that in 12 months' time. So we're really excited about that.
Spring of 2025, the job creation, the revenue development, but also like that sizzle. Like I'm hearing the word sizzle. Like that type of excitement in our city. The Ottawa Board of Trade. Because obviously the focus this week and recently has been on the downtown piece. But I think they do a beautiful job of also highlighting everything else that's happening in the city.
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually met with Sueling quite early on when I arrived to Ottawa, and what a dynamic leader we have in Sueling. So we hit it off right away, and there's certainly lots of opportunities to work together, and we want to be part of all of the solutions. So Hard Rock's here, we're in it to win it. We're here for the long term, so it's a good opportunity for me to get involved in the city as well. And we're really happy to work with the Board of Trade.
Well, welcome. I know it's it's 6 months late, but thank you so much. And I know we'll talk again.
For sure.
Especially as we lead up to that big excitement time. Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it.
you.
Christine Crump joining us, of course, president of Rideau, Carleton Raceway and Casino, and of course, future Hard Rock. We're working for that. That dynamic leader, Sueling Ching from the Ottawa Board of Trade, is joining us. Stay with us on Ottawa Business Matters. I'm Sam LaPrade, and we are back. Sueling Ching is here. She's the president and CEO of the Ottawa Board of Trade. Hello, my friend.
Hello, Sam.
So I have to just mention, I see you're wearing a special T-shirt.
Oh, yes.
From the Hard Rock.
Yes, I know. It was a gift from Christine and the team at Hard Rock, and I love it.
I love it too.
And when Zach said earlier today, get a T-shirt. So I was like, okay, I got a T-shirt.
Got a T-shirt. We had some incredible guests on today, and as we do every single week, we started with Zach Dayler, of course, from the Byward Market District Authority. Some exciting stuff happening downtown. We're a couple of weeks, away from that big announcement that was made, but still, there's a lot of buzz in the city, Sueling, about what this is going to mean for the downtown core.
So yes, thank you for mentioning that. So, of course, over the last year, we've been working hard on creating this Downtown Ottawa Action Plan. Last year, we declared it as a top priority for our city. because what we believe is that, you know, the core of the city will impact not just our entire city, but our entire region, and of course is important to be thriving as the capital of Canada. And so when we realized everything was not going to go back to the way it was, we deemed it an opportunity to reimagine and transform the downtown to be more diverse, more resilient. And so we've been very excited about the report that came out, which names the Byward Market as an opportunity to move forward with the public realm plan. And it, along with Spark Street and a couple of other things, incubation center for business and an arts, and we want to talk about Hard Rock, and an arts and culture corridor as well, as catalytic anchors in the downtown to bring in visitors, to elevate the lifestyle for all Ottawa.
It's an exciting time. I mean, we're just a couple of years away from celebrating 200 years
Yes.
in the Byward Market. I joked with Zach that I feel like I've been going for 200 years. I mean, this is a really important time in our city. And then we had Krista Keela join us. And of course, Krista spoke beautifully about the Ottawa Airport Authority and those direct flights from France, but also what Porter's doing, all of the airlines really coming to the table to make Ottawa a hub. And that isn't something we thought would happen for a very long time.
No, and you know, and I just want to compliment Mark Laroche and Krista and the whole team for what they've done. You know, we're part of their community consult table. And when I think about the conversations we were having during the pandemic, when the airport was so challenged, and how they have come out of it so beautifully and become even more of an anchor in our community with their local vendors there, with their focus on client service, and then the ability to attract these direct flights. It's been really exciting, and it's critically important. And we've heard from our business community that the ability for direct flights is critical to their business, and we know as economic developers it's an important part of our economic development plan.
We should book a flight to France, just, because
Well,
we
you
can.
know, Sam, I'm not sure that you have any more vacation weeks left, because in the short time that we've been working together, I'm pretty sure you travel once a week. So I'm afraid for you, with this new level of service at the airport, whether you'll be in Ottawa at all. I'm teasing. No, I'm teasing. Yes, France is on the agenda for sure.
France is on the agenda, absolutely. And then, of course, staying in the South End, that beautiful Rideau Carleton Casino, soon to be Hard Rock. We spoke about your fantastic T-shirt, but it really is a time, 2025, spring of 2025. So I'm thinking this time next year,
I know.
this is going to be alive.
Seems like,
it's so exciting.
Yeah, it just seems like yesterday that they were getting ready to break ground, and we're so happy to welcome Christine to our Ottawa business community, and very pleased for the work that she and Tammy are doing, and we are grateful for how they really integrated, the organization and into our business community. And I just, I want to mention like the fabulous programs that they're running. I don't know if you call it programs, but programs and events, and when I think about the City Building Summit that we just had, and the Capital magazine that we have coming out, talking about how we make the city vibrant, and arts and culture and entertainment, all of those things are an important part of that formula. And so we're just really grateful for Hard Rock for elevating the game even further in Ottawa.
100%. And I would be amiss if I didn't speak about the business growth survey.
Yes.
I mean, people want to see this survey. They want to see what's happening in the city. Give us a little bit of a taste.
Yeah, so we have launched the Ottawa Business Growth Survey results, and we had a great event to launch those results. And we are, we do know that with all the great things that are going on, we are challenged as well in the community and in the business community. And so we try to gauge year over year what the business confidence is, and we did see a bit of a dip this year. But the theme of the whole survey was around the municipal government and whether they're making the grade. And we were pleased to see that, generally speaking, our local council, and specifically our mayor, is well thought of. are well thought of. And then the other thing that was in there that we were pleased to see is business leaders acknowledging that they have a role to play. And of course, that's part of the mantra of the Board of Trade. That's why we exist, is to galvanize the insights, the talents, the energy of the business leaders to try and grow our community, to make sure that we have a thriving community for generations to come. That's how Ottawa got built, is with that vision and that rolling up the sleeves of our business leaders, and now is the time for us to be there again.
100%. It's funny you mentioned the mayor. Every single guest we've had on today talked about the mayor visiting their property. I mean, this is somebody that's engaged in the city, somebody that really wants to understand. The mayor's breakfasts have been an important piece. I know a couple of weeks ago, having the Honorable Anita Anand. I mean, these are important opportunities for the city to be engaged. And when a mayor's engaged in that way, it really sets the stage.
I really want to compliment him, to be honest, because, even though technically we advocate for the business community, to all levels of government, our advocacy approach is really one of partnership. And because at the end of the day, we're all going for the same thing, right? Was prosperity for all, economic growth. And so I want to compliment the mayor because he is really engaged in the community, as we see all the time. I follow his social media where he posts a Good Morning Ottawa every morning. I said, it's just really building that sense of community. And we just hosted him recently as well with our board of directors.
Right.
And talked about, how we're aligned in this thinking that economic growth agenda will be what drives our ability to deliver services, to make sure our businesses are successful, to make sure our children have jobs, And so we're very aligned with him. His messaging has been that from day one, as is ours. And we may not always agree on how to go about doing that, but that's okay. And even last week when we had Minister Anand at the breakfast, she really talked about how important it is for us to, she called it elevating public discourse. And so, making sure that when we agree, we can move forward together. When we disagree, that we're keeping it professional, that we're being respectful, and that's really, I have found to be the mayor's style. So,
It's good news.
I think so.
Lots of
I
good
think
news.
so.
A couple of weeks from now, we've got the exciting 40 Under 40 awards. That is a highlight in this town. There's no two ways about it.
I agree with you. We're just wrapping up some of our pre-production for the event with all of our 40 Under 40 recipients, and super excited, encouraging everybody to make sure they get their tickets because they will sell out. And we're excited to be at the Casino Lac Limi, which is a beautiful venue. We've said it many times, these young people, and it's coming at more and more to this idea in terms of our economic development plans, that we have to be very intentional of engaging some of these young leaders to inform our thinking as we move forward. Is a big part of how we rolled out the downtown action plan. It's a big part of how we hosted the City Building Summit. And so we're really excited about not just what these young leaders have done, but what they will continue to do.
Yeah, it's such an exciting time in our city. Membership, we just heard today, the Byward Market District Authority became a brand new member of the Ottawa Board of Trade. And you're always seeing that, right?
Yeah.
More people saying, hey, why am I not a member? So this is an important time.
Yeah, so I mean, the history of the Chamber of Commerce in Ottawa was that we had several, right, after the city amalgamated with the surrounding municipalities. And so in 2018, I believe, we consolidated them because we did see that there was a need for a stronger focus on the voice of business. And but we just followed that specifically with a pandemic. And so it has taken time for people to understand that the new Ottawa Board of Trade, is maybe not the same as what they've experienced in the past, and that it's a real opportunity to impact the environment in which we are creating businesses, elevating our lifestyle, and we're honored to be doing that work.
It's amazing. Lots to be proud of in this city, and I think a show like today, I walk out of here just on cloud nine about what's happening in the city, and there's challenges. There's no two ways about it. But when we see from the Byward Market, the airport, and of course the casino, the future Hard Rock. Those types of plans get me really, really excited about what's to come in this city.
Those plans keep me excited, and I want to thank you for hosting this show, because you're right. This show and many of the events that we run, including the Mayor's Breakfast, and you know, even some of the other media stuff that we do, like our magazine, like all of those things are platforms, not just to say what's going on, but to see the intersections between them. And I think the main message here is that working together, we can realize our full potential, and we can optimize our collective resources and energy. And anyway, so thank you to you for being a part of that.
Thank you so much. You've spoke about Capital Magazine a couple of times. Where can we find that and when?
Yes, so we have a physical magazine, which we still enjoy having, and we have it at all of our events, and we have distribution outlets all across the city. But it's also online, capitalmag.ca. Good thing I remembered that. Capitalmag.ca, where our current and all of our past issues are on there as well.
Yeah.
And it's really an opportunity for people to see what's going on in Ottawa, you know, to highlight business leaders, to highlight local businesses, exciting developments. So our summer issue will be launched on June the 26th.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have a feature in there around city building. We have a feature in there around some of the young leaders in our city, and then a feature around music and entertainment as well. And then, of course, lots of content from our members.
Wonderful. Thank you as always.
As always, thank you.
Sueling Ching joining us, of course, President and CEO of the Ottawa Board of Trade. I don't know how she does it. She's everywhere. Thank you so much for joining us on this Ottawa Business Matters. And remember, support local. Thank you so much, everyone.